Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. And I'm back. And it's been, I think, 6 weeks. And I've missed a fair amount of motorsport in that time. In fact, the last Formula One Grand Prix we talked about was Saudi Arabia. And there has been Imola and Miami and Australia since then. And also the Spanish Grand Prix today, which I will be doing a video on later. So make sure you come back. So I thought I'd go over some of the things I've missed, but actually there isn't a lot. The racing hasn't been stellar. I think much like last year, if you look at the championship standings, it looks really interesting. The races themselves, not so much. Leclerc versus Verstappen looks to be the battle going forward, and it has been very, very exciting. We're still sort of waiting for Mercedes to kind of crash the party. In Spanish Grand Prix qualifying, it looks like they've improved a bit. They're pretty much on the back of Red Bull and Ferrari now, so it shouldn't be too much longer till we get back to how it's meant to be with Mercedes on top. But we'll just enjoy Verstappen and Leclerc battling away while we can. And it has been exciting, but you sort of only get brief glimpses of it, sort of one or two laps here or there. And it's still just a problem with Formula One. I hate DRS. It's ruining everything. There's so many easy overtakes. And you watch Formula E where they're having to sort of bump past each other in the corners. It's so much more exciting, and I think that's maybe what Formula One actually needs to look into. I think we held out too much hope for these new regulations. They've improved things, but it's not great. And Monaco is going to be weird because the cars are even wider than normal, and overtaking is going to be impossible. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm actually looking forward to Monaco because it's an interesting street circuit. Which brings us on to Miami. Why was that a thing? They've built up Miami as this. This was going to be special. Finally break the American market. Who designed that track? It was just a racetrack. Surely the whole point of a street circuit is it's different to a racetrack. Why have a street circuit with massive runoff areas and wide open racing? And it was just boring. There was literally nothing special or memorable about that track at all. I watched the W Series race there as well, which was better. There's really only like one place anyone could overtake. And in the W Series there was a couple of incidents at that corner. But in the Formula One it was just boring. Awful, awful track. Waste of time. Hopefully we don't go back there. It kind of makes me wish we'd seen that Hanoi track. I think it was Vietnam. There's going to be a Vietnamese Grand Prix a couple of years ago. COVID kind of ruined it, and it doesn't seem to be ever being mentioned ever again. Kind of a shame, but I think I don't remember if there was actually any kind of layout for that. Well, I'm guessing there was. But I was kind of more interested for that than a Miami Grand Prix. Now I know why. You might as well just done a circle around the car park, or, I don't know, because IndyCar races at really interesting street circuits in America, so it is possible. I can't remember what Grand Prix it was now. It wasn't Kentucky. Nashville? Was it the Nashville Grand Prix? I can't remember. Not Grand Prix, IndyCar, whatever. It was like the Music City one, and it had the bridge, and it was cool. That was one hell of a street circuit. Why could you find someone who designs the IndyCar street circuits, bring them to Formula One, and get them to do a track around Miami? Because whoever did that abomination needs to be sacked and banned from doing anything ever. It was terrible. I don't think I've ever hated a track so much just because of all the hype surrounding the Miami Grand Prix. And what we got was just dreadful. As for the other races, it was nice to see Australia back on the grid. I actually really liked the Melbourne track. It was, again, a bit of a lackluster race, but it was just nice seeing Melbourne again. And Imola is always great. I love that track as well. I don't think there's anything really special about that race. To be honest, most of these races were so long ago now, I can't actually remember them, which is never a good sign of the quality of the racing. And there's been a few. There's not really been any controversies. The controversies are things like I've seen in the newspapers and on the internet sites. Lewis Hamilton might get a race ban in Monaco because he won't take off his jewellery, which is just ridiculous. You get paid £50 million a year. Just take off the jewellery. I think he said he has piercings he can't take out. I'm sure he can afford a plastic surgeon or something to work it out. Because I don't think they'll ban him. That seems a bit much over a few bits of jewellery. But surely if they ban him because he has jewellery on, but he's got jewellery he cannot physically take off, but if he gets a race ban in Monaco, it's effectively the end of his career, because if you've banned him from one race for a thing, and the thing can't be changed for any other race, surely he's just banned from racing. We got until next week to find out, I guess, but is that how Lewis Hamilton's going to end his Formula 1 career? Being banned from the Monaco Grand Prix because he's got a couple of piercings he can't take out. Seems a bit absurd, and I'm sure they'll find a workaround, but surely this just shouldn't be a thing. If that's been in the rule, I think it has been a rule and it's just not been, enforced. And now, when it's too late, they've decided to enforce it suddenly, which happens in motorsport. They find these old rules and think, we're actually going to have a look at this. Because it's the old, I think I've used the clip before of Frank Sittner saying the rules are the rules and you should follow the rules. But I think even that was off the back of some emissions noise test that the British touring cars had a rule on that they just suddenly decided to enforce one day. And for one day only, it's never been brought up since. I don't know why, but that just seems to be a thing. I've seen stuff about Michael Massey coming back as well. I don't know in what role, but it's... I guess, whatever, fine. There really hasn't been that much. As for the racing itself, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, both doing very, very well. Red Bull have been unluckier than Ferrari, especially regarding mechanical issues. Sergio Perez is getting left in the dust, but he is still sort of doing his job as the second Red Bull driver, and he might get an extension to his contract. That would be interesting. I think Carlos Sainz already has an extension on his Ferrari contract, which is good. He's driving well. Again, he's been unlucky a couple of times. He could still win a race this year. This is a Spanish Grand Prix home race. It'd be quite nice to see Carlos Sainz win. Mercedes catching up, as I said. George Russell is leaving Lewis Hamilton in the dirt behind. I think I said that about Perez, but George Russell is really embarrassing Lewis Hamilton. I don't know. I've heard things like it's just a case of a new driver coming into a new car and an old driver who's been with the team a while and is used to driving a certain way, and that way doesn't work with the new car. I don't know. Whatever it is, George Russell is doing a fantastic job, and I cannot fault him at all. Lewis Hamilton hasn't really done badly. I think he had one really, really bad race. Otherwise, he's been fairly competent as usual. So it's just a case that Russell is quicker than him at the moment. Whether that's down to the car or not, no idea. And we'll have to see how Mercedes do as the season progresses. As for the midfield, not much really interesting to say about it that hasn't already been said, even way back at Saudi Arabia. Haas doing surprisingly well. Still waiting for Mick Schumacher to score his first points, but I think they will come. Alpine doing surprisingly well. McLaren doing surprisingly badly. AlphaTauri doing surprisingly badly. Aston Martin doing about as badly as I expected. And Williams sort of around where I expected. I don't know if I've forgotten anyone there, but it's pretty much everyone. The only thing I would say is Nicholas Latifi I have defended on this channel before. I think people have been very harsh about Nicholas Latifi and saying he should have been replaced before this year. He's kind of proved them right because he's crashed a lot. But I still think Latifi deserves a chance in Formula One. Maybe not beyond this year. So if he doesn't improve, maybe then chuck him. Alexander Albon's doing a pretty decent job for Williams. He scored points. He looks like a pretty stable driver for the team. Maybe that's what they need. I don't know who you would replace Latifi with mid-season anyway. There's not a lot of like great drivers floating around the market at the moment. I mean, if you're going to pick up someone from Formula 2, I mean, you can get like Jack Doohan or something. They'll do a decent job, but maybe they want to stay in Formula 2 and win that. Otherwise, you're sort of looking at retired Formula 1 drivers like Nico Hülkenberg, or plucking someone out of Formula E like Antonio Giovinazzi, who is doing extremely badly. He probably wouldn't mind leaving Dragon for Williams. As for other motorsports, I haven't really caught up on everything yet. Formula E I caught up on today. The Monaco race was really, really good. The Berlin races not so much. And Van Dorn seems to be running away with that title, which is strange for Formula E. British Touring Cars, I've only watched the first round. I've missed the last IndyCar race that Colton Herta won, which I saw the end of, but not the whole race. Interestingly enough, Indy 500 next week, on the same day as the Monaco Grand Prix, which is annoying. Why have both those races on the same day? Surely one of the calendars could have been moved a little. Like, if they just swapped Monaco and Spain, we've had the Monaco Grand Prix this week, Indy 500 next week, as well as the Spanish Grand Prix, which seems less important somehow. But yeah, Monaco Grand Prix and Indy 500. We could just move Le Mans forward and have all three of those races on the same day. That'd be great. Yeah, I mean, I think World Rallycross I'm not caught up on yet. I don't even know what other race series there are. There could be hundreds of them. There is hundreds of them. Oh, Frederick Lubin update. This is, of course, still the Frederick Lubin fan channel. He has finished second a couple of times in Euro Formula. He retired from a race, but he's not doing too badly. He's sort of in the midfield of Euro Formula this year. The only thing I would say is Euro Formula is a dying series with barely any drivers in it. I think they've managed fields of like 10 or 11 drivers this year. Considering Formula Regional is about the same level and has a much deeper field, I don't think Euro Formula is going to either exist as it does now. I mean, if it doesn't change and get a deeper field, there's already no reason for it to exist, really, because I mean, you have Formula Regional and Formula 3 and all the Formula 4s for underneath. There's plenty for drivers to race in. Euro Formula is kind of just in the way. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I've still got a lot to catch up on. I'm getting there. I've only had internet for a few days. So this is why I've been away for 6 weeks. We moved house. Or at least we had a set date we needed to be out of the house by, and we really struggled to find somewhere to live. In fact, we didn't find somewhere till about, it's like literally a couple of weeks before we had to move, we finally found somewhere, and then everything had to be rushed through. We didn't actually finish signing the paperwork for this place till about 3 days before we had to move in. So this was all a rush job. But what that did mean is that the internet was cut off at the old place before we moved. And then when we moved in here, I couldn't like order it or get it set up, or even like just begin the process of getting internet until we moved in, because I didn't know when we would be moving in, or if we would be moving in, or where we'd be moving to. So when we finally moved in, and obviously I had the address and that, and I booked to have the internet installed with BT, and their first available date to do it was like 3 weeks after we moved. So that's where I've been, waiting patiently for the internet. So we got it a few days ago. I kind of decided to wait till Sunday to get everything up, do it all at the same time. We get 3 videos today as I just get back into the swing of things. And hopefully, going forward from now, everything sort of will return to normal a bit, and you'll get a few videos every week. So with that, thank you for watching, and thank you for being patient, and thank you if you're coming back to the channel or discovering it for the first time. Remember to subscribe. Come back later for the review of the Spanish Grand Prix. I'm sure this is the race, right? This is the first majorly exciting race of 2022. It's going to kick off at the Spanish Grand Prix. So subscribe. Thank you very much, and have a good one.